Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Joe Flash, and we're back with another YouTube video. So earlier today, like hours ago, I was finally able to complete Spider-Man Friend or Foe for the Wii replay on my YouTube channel. I got through the last of the missions in the last location, and I finally completed it again, because I already completed it in 2017, but decided to replay it again, and I completed it. So now that that's taken care of, I did tell y'all in my last video with me playing the game that I mentioned I was either probably going to maybe start playing another game, which I already had plans for that, and then I'm either going to go back to doing more voice comparison reaction videos, because there was a certain character, there was characters from a certain franchise that I was going to do voice comparison reaction videos to, and I figured I'm going to go ahead and just do it now. So I made the decision that I will now be doing more voice comparison reaction videos for a little while, so here I am. And the next set of characters that I have in mind, so as you saw from my last previous videos I made of reaction voice comparison videos, was the Mortal Kombat, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle characters, and I found all the Ninja Turtle character voice comparison videos on YouTube, and now that all of them are taken care of, now I can focus on a different type of franchise from another different type of franchise characters. And as I told you who I decided which franchise I was gonna do next after the Ninja Turtles, I was gonna do Mortal Kombat. I have to do Mortal Kombat, you know. While I may not play Mortal Kombat that much, I still do love it. It's a pretty classical video game that should hopefully never get old. Gotta love Mortal Kombat. Anyway, so Mortal Kombat characters. So there's quite a few. I've seen a few from both the mixture of the Behemoth89 YouTuber that I usually check out voice comparison reaction videos from, and then there's also Generation West, which I reacted to his Spider-Man voice comparison reaction videos updated version, because, you know, they have more of them than the original. Well, it turns out Generation West has better ones than Behemoth89. Like, I was able to find a couple on Behemoth89, but they're just usually video game, and it's usually just full of video games, and I mean, I looked at the voice actors, and then found out they were like ones like the voice actors that were pictures showed up and everything. Like, I don't know. It just only featured, like, people who were just only voicing them in video games and little animated series and stuff like that. I also want to do, and that just wouldn't be good enough, because if you do know, they have also made live-action Mortal Kombat sequels as well, and I also want to get to the live-action sequel guys as well that appeared in live-action sequel Mortal Kombat stuff as well. So you gotta do everybody, you know. You can't, not only just the video games and animated series, but you also gotta do live-action wise, because they have tried to make a couple of live-action Mortal Kombat projects, and, you know, I just gotta rank at least almost close to everyone that they've done so far throughout the Mortal Kombat history, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, there's a lot of characters in Mortal Kombat. I found quite a few characters they have in the Mortal Kombat franchise I could do voice comparison reaction videos to, and out of all the characters, I decided that for my first Mortal Kombat franchise character, I'm gonna do the one and only Johnny Cage, as you can tell from the background picture. Now, I know some of y'all probably be saying, hey, you could have did Scorpion or Sub-Zero first. They're, like, probably the two most important characters in Mortal Kombat. Why couldn't you do Scorpion or something first? Well, Johnny Cage is another classic character who appeared in the first ever Mortal Kombat game, and I know I probably could have did Scorpion or something first, but for me, I just have to do Johnny Cage, because Johnny Cage is personally my favorite Mortal Kombat character. Like, Johnny Cage has pretty much always been, like, my favorite Mortal Kombat character since I was a kid, when my dad introduced me to Mortal Kombat Trilogy on the PlayStation 2, and just the first time I saw Johnny Cage with his signature sunglasses, I don't know, he's just always caught my attention, even though I didn't play him that much, or, you know, all that, because I didn't know how to play games back then as a child. But Johnny Cage has always caught my attention since then. Like, I've always had eyes on Johnny Cage ever since, you know. So I just, you know, I have to do Johnny Cage. I really like the guy. He's very hilarious. He's a really well-skilled fighter, even if he may not be the best fighter, but he's very well-skilled in martial arts. He's got some great moves, and, you know, you can't go wrong with his classic nut punch move. His cocky attitude, he's pretty hilarious, so that's why I like Johnny Cage. He's just, you know, he's great. Mortal Kombat wouldn't be the same without him as well, even if maybe he's a little annoying sometimes for some people, but Johnny Cage is funny. So, like I said, personally, Johnny's just always been my favorite, so I just have to do him first. I have to do Johnny Cage first, so I don't have much else left to say, other than I'm gonna go ahead and get this video started, so let's go ahead and get into it, shall we? So without further ado, with not much left being said, I'm going to go ahead and do my first Mortal Kombat franchise character voice comparison reaction video. That being Johnny Cage. So let me go ahead and quickly shrink this size down a bit, if I can. There we go. So let's take a look through the history and find out who I think has some of the best Johnny Cage voices, you know. I'll tell you in the end who I love as the live action Johnny, and then I'll also tell you who I love as animated and video game wise Johnny as well. Because, like I said, I do remember there was some live action Johnny Cages. I remember them, but you gotta wait till they show up on the list for me to be able to rank them. You gotta be patient. I don't need to go ahead and start mentioning before we get into the video. Because, like I said, I do remember quite a few Mortal Kombat characters being in live action wise. I remember some. Johnny Cage was definitely another one of them. So I'm gonna give all these guys a rank as usual. If I like them and love them, thumbs up. Or if I really, really like them and love them as my favorites, then double thumbs up. If I'm not really sure where to go between them, if I like it or not, and just maybe think they need to, maybe I like it, but then they just need to make improvements, or maybe they could do better, then I'll just say maybe. And if I don't like it, then, definitely thumbs down. Or if I really, really, really do not like it, like hate it, then definitely double thumbs down. I haven't really done double thumbs down, but if there is something that I dislike a lot, then, most likely I probably will do double thumbs out, because they were horrible, like that horrible to me, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if there's going to be anything, I don't know if there's going to be any Johnny Cage voices in here that I'll give double thumbs down to. Probably most likely not. Because, point of being Johnny Cage is you have to have cocky attitude, be funny, have that, like, Johnny Cage just being like a comedy guy, kind of. And he plus, he's like an actor and everything, so, why the heck not? I still do keep forgetting that Johnny Cage's real name is actually John Carlton. I remember in one of the live-action Mortal Kombat sequels, they mentioned Johnny Cage's real name is actually John Carlton, but he got the nickname for, I guess, when he got into acting. I don't know. But anyway, enough being said. Sorry, my finger. Enough being said, let's go ahead and just get into this video, shall we? So, there's nothing much left to say. So, like John Cena and Triple H would always say, your time is up, my time is now, it's time to play the game. Let's go ahead and do this, shall we? Johnny Cage, voice comparison, updated, because there is 2 from Generation West, but I decided to go with the updated version because it's got more guys than the original one, so I have to do the updated version because it's got more of them, So, Johnny Cage, voice comparison, updated, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Let me lower the volume a bit. Let me turn this off as well, the fan, because I'm definitely not going to hear if I have the fan on. Comparing the voices of Johnny Cage. Let's see who we got.
I got invited to this secret tournament to prove that I'm the best. But now you're telling me we're on our way to fight people from
I definitely never heard of this, but... Or actually, I think maybe I have heard of this, but I don't know if that was really much of a successful series. Like, I've seen a couple clips on YouTube. I don't know if that series was that successful, though. I don't know. I don't hear a lot of people talk about this series. It probably wasn't that much of a successful series, but apparently Johnny Cage was in here. Mortal Kombat The Journey Begins, 1995, Jeff Bennett. Kind of almost looks like Johnny Cage himself, honestly, Jeff Bennett. Kind of almost looks like Johnny.
I don't think that's in my contract, alright? Hey, tell that to my fans. Prove what I do up on the
But nothing to West, that's a good voice, so sure, thumbs up. Good way to start things off by giving a thumbs up to someone.
To shoot a frozen ice stream from my hands? Or suck somebody's soul from his body? I don't think so. Moves the bad guys sneak up behind me. Think these guys would try something new, huh?
Yes! Lyndon Ashby. Boy, do I remember that movie. I'll never forget that Mortal Kombat movie in 1995. That is a classic Mortal Kombat live-action film. These, basically in my honest opinion, anything that they made into live-action-wise, Mortal Kombat, the early days, like 1990s, were much better than even they tried to in the later generations, like the 2000s or 2010s, you know what I'm saying? Because the early 90s were just the better live-action versions of Mortal Kombat. Like, I can think of 2 or 3 sequels of live-action Mortal Kombats that were made in the 90s that I thought were better than even, like, the later generation live-action Mortal Kombat projects, like in 2010 or something like that, you know what I'm saying? And this movie was no joke, even though the main problem with making a lot of these video game live-action movies, like, they've been trying to make, like, live-action video game movies over the years, like other iconic video games like Street Fighter in them. They usually always seem to fail to get people over. Like, a lot of people have admitted that they weren't a big fan of the video games and live-action movies. Like, they tried to make a Street Fighter movie in live-action-wise. People said that was garbage. They tried to do that with Resident Evil. People said that was bad as well. So they usually fail to get these over. And They did make a couple of live action Mortal Kombat stuff that weren't really that good. But there was some that were at least good, even though some people still have mixed opinions, even on this movie and some other stuff as well. But honestly, for me, I thought this was a good live action Mortal Kombat movie, 1995. This was a classic one, and I really enjoyed it a lot. It was a great live action Mortal Kombat movie, and that guy, Lyndon Ashby, did an amazing job as Johnny Cage. He nailed the role, he had the personality, he had the fun. Like, Lyndon Ashby really just made Johnny Cage come to life. So therefore, without a doubt, Lyndon Ashby, he is Johnny Cage. No doubt about it. He is the one true Johnny Cage. Just my number one favorite live action Johnny Cage. So of course, double thumbs up.
Then there's a man who, as far as I can tell, is made out of electricity. I mean, you're like, what is going on here? Who is this guy? I made a choice. Sergeant. Mortal Kombat. We fight it.
There's never going to be a better live action Johnny Cage than Lyndon Ashby. Legendary, classic,
Change the scenery.
just the phenomenal and just the
This place. I do.
best live action Johnny Cage.
I'm in a hostile.
Lyndon Ashby just really nailed him. Like, he really just brought the character to life with his performance. That's why he is Johnny Cage. Oh, yeah. I forgot that in the next movie, they did make another Mortal Kombat movie later, 2 years later after the first one in 1995. They made this in 1997. It was called Mortal Kombat Annihilation. So it's kind of technically Mortal Kombat 2, but it's called Mortal Kombat Annihilation. But sadly, Lyndon Ashby did not return as Johnny Cage. He was replaced by this man, Chris Conrad. Unfortunately, I can't really rank Chris's performance that much because the problem is Johnny Cage actually got killed in this movie. He was killed by Shao Kahn in this movie towards the beginning of the movie, so Johnny Cage just wasn't really that important in this movie. Like, they kind of wasted him in this movie. They made him get killed by Shao Kahn, so he wasn't really nothing important to this movie since he only appeared in the beginning of the movie and he got killed eventually by Shao Kahn, and then he just remained dead for the remainder of the movie, meaning he wasn't with, like, the rest of his gang squads and all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? So, there was not really any point for Johnny being in this movie if they were just going to kill him, although he really deserved better, though, but, yeah. So, Chris Conrad's performance doesn't really count for me as Johnny Cage, because he didn't do a lot. Although, and he didn't even get to speak a lot either, so I know that this... Yeah, that's all he said. That was all he said. Listen. This is not good. That's all he said. That's the only thing he said in the whole entire movie was, this is not good. Like, when Johnny was still alive. That was the only thing he got to say in the movie, and that was it. He never spoke any other words. That was the only thing Johnny Cage said in that movie. This is not good. So they kind of really ruined Johnny Cage in this movie. Not only because he got killed, but didn't really get to make him say a lot. Didn't even get to see him fight that much. So they really messed up with Johnny Cage in this movie, you know. So they really completely wasted him. So, you know, even if Lyndon Ashby was in this movie still playing him again, it would have not really mattered that much if they were still going to book Johnny to die. But I kind of would have wished that Lyndon Ashby would have been back in this movie, but for some reason they decided to replace him with Chris. Not that it would have mattered either way, because Johnny died in this movie, but... So like I said, I can't really rank Chris Conrad's performance because he really just did not do a lot in this movie since Johnny quickly was killed in this movie. So there's nothing really for me to say about this, but I guess as far as, you know... But I guess as far as his voice goes and what he was able to do, like, he was going to try to attempt to do a shadow kick on Shao Kahn to save Sonya, and then that's when he got killed, you know. But I guess overall, for what he did while his character was alive, I guess he did good, because, you know, they did do good making the little shadow kick look realistic, and then, you know, and all that. So, I guess I'll still go ahead and give him a thumbs up, even though I can't really count this one all the way, because Johnny just really did not live in this movie. He got killed, and so it was really just a waste for him being in this movie, and just a total waste for Chris Conrad to even replace Lyndon Ashby to even act as Johnny. So this really just doesn't count to me at all. But overall, from what Chris was able to do while his character was alive, I'll go ahead and still give him a thumbs up. But obviously, Johnny really deserved better in this movie. He should have not have got killed real quickly in this movie. If you would have killed... Look, I mean, I don't know if he should have died at all, but if you wanted to kill Johnny Cage, you could have at least let him live a little bit longer, like halfway towards the movie, and then maybe towards the half of the movie, or maybe close to the end of the movie, maybe he gets killed. if they were gonna let people die. You know what I'm saying? Because Mortal Kombat has a lot of deaths in there, so of course maybe someone was gonna have to die. But if you were gonna let Johnny Cage die, you should have at least let him live longer. He could have died like maybe halfway towards the movie, or halfway towards the end of the movie, or maybe even close to the end of the movie, like in maybe the final fight or something like that. You didn't have to kill Johnny Cage off so quickly in this movie. You really could have let him live longer. So this kind of really is a disappointment for me, just for Johnny being in Mortal Kombat Annihilation, because he got killed way too quickly. Like, you gotta agree with me, Johnny Cage deserved way better in this movie than from what he was given. Like, he really should have lived longer. This was a big waste, but from what Chris was able to give, still thumbs up. It's just disappointing. Like I said, Johnny just... There's nothing more to say other than he should have lived longer and not got killed so quickly by Shao Kahn. Complete waste for him being in that movie.
I don't know what to say. I guess I can start by thanking all my fans.
I think if I'm not mistaken, I think Mortal Kombat 4 was the first... Or was it? Wasn't Mortal Kombat 4 the first 3D Mortal Kombat game, but it was still acted as a 2D dimensional game because, you know, it still had that classic Mortal Kombat stuff from the 3 Mortal Kombat games? I think this was the first 3D one, right? Yeah, I think it was. But they just still kept it in 2D frame where, you know, everybody has an uppercut and low kick and all that stuff, just like the classic original 3 Mortal Kombat games did. You know, Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 2, and Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. But, yeah.
Well, that's enough of the mushy stuff. I mean, let's get real here.
Who voiced him again?
I don't know what to say. I guess I can
They don't have his picture, but okay, that's the man.
Well, that's enough of the mushy stuff. I mean, let's get real here, huh? What am I...
I think if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the man. I think this is the part. I think this voice I'm hearing. I think this is from when you win as Johnny Cage, like when you win the game with him. I think that shows a little extra ending. You know, it has that little ending cutscene where it shows how the story ends. You know, and I do remember I was actually gonna watch it because I found it on YouTube. I actually was gonna watch that, but I never really watched it. I wasn't able to watch it because I was watching other videos, so I never really got to see this. But I think this is what this is. I think this is Johnny Cage's ending when you complete the arcade mode with him.
Gonna get some real competition. Come on, don't get silent now. Where are all the cheers? Hey, wait a minute. I'm your number one guy. I'm gonna remember this.
Okay. But I mean, even though the voice is kind of a little weird, but I guess I'll go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I just gotta get cheered by everybody, just to turn around and just get booed. But, I mean, I'll still go ahead and give Robert thumbs up.
Shang Tsung is trying to turn us against each other. Back in the academy, he was impersonating me.
Matt Chapman. Wow, just looking at him in this picture, he kind of almost looks like Mini Lad. I don't know if you heard of YouTuber Mini Lad or not, but some reason he almost looks like YouTuber Mini Lad. That's what he looks like to me, honestly. But apparently Johnny Cage was in Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks as well.
He can morph into
2005.
I didn't know it was Shang Tsung at the time. I tried to warn you. And then I realized if someone could look like me, he could look like either of you two as well. So
I don't think I'm really a big fan of Johnny having blonde hair, though. It kind of looks like he had more blonde hair in this game. I don't really like Johnny Cage with blonde hair. I prefer him with his classic brown hair, so... I do know there was a couple Mortal Kombat games where they turned him into a blonde head, and I didn't really like it that much, so I'm not sure if I'm really a big fan of Johnny with blonde hair, but...
And watched. A girl? Is she hot? She's hot. She picks Liu Kang over me? What's wrong with this picture? Maybe I have time to find that clone of her somebody mentioned.
I'll say maybe.
Beautiful.
Oh. Yeah. Yes. Mortal Kombat 9, that's a great game, but back in 2011. That's a good game. I like how the story goes when Raiden went back in time to try to fix everything, because it was taking place after Mortal Kombat Armageddon, where Shao Kahn was about to... He already killed everybody, and, you know, Raiden was about to get killed, and he went back in time to retell the whole classic Mortal Kombat story over again, just to fix and save time, I think. So that's pretty cool. So, you know, that's pretty cool, Mortal Kombat 9. And not to mention, it really looks pretty cool. Like, every character actually looks pretty cool in this game, and Johnny even looked pretty cool as well. This is where he had that new tattoo on his chest as well, where he got the new tattoo having Johnny written on his chest, because in previous Mortal Kombat games, he never had that before, so this was the first time you see him with the tattoo writing his name on it.
Strike.
But yes, that's a good game. Jeff Pilson did good.
Kano? Wasn't in that one. That old geezer's the final challenge? They might as well give me the belt taking you down, I'm taking you down, I'm taking you out, I'm taking you out, and I'm taking you out. Look, guys, I'm an actor. I saved the world for the cameras. If this emperor is
Sorry,
really
my head
a
is
threat,
sweating.
call the military. Me? I've got a date with a blonde. Growing up, I was shy.
Yeah. This guy, Matt Mullins. Oh, wow, he actually played as him in Reboot. I heard of that Mortal Kombat movie, Mortal Kombat Rebirth. That was a canceled movie. I don't think it ever made it into DVD, but I discovered it on YouTube. This was a real Mortal Kombat movie. It was called Mortal Kombat Rebirth, which was made back in 2010. I don't know if a lot of people know about that movie because it was a canceled Mortal Kombat movie that I don't think it ever made it into DVD or anything, Mortal Kombat Rebirth, because it was canceled, and I'm pretty sure even if it was released, I'm sure that would have been a bad movie, because I didn't even know this guy even played him in that movie, but apparently I do remember he played him in Mortal Kombat Legacy 1. That's where I remember him, but apparently he also did play Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat Rebirth, given the detail that Johnny Cage was in that canceled Mortal Kombat movie, Mortal Kombat Rebirth. Like I said, I've only seen a few clips of it on YouTube. Like I said, it was a canceled Mortal Kombat movie that never made it into DVD, I believe, and I'm pretty sure even if it did, I'm sure that would have been a terrible movie, because they have done times before where they canceled projects, probably because either fans didn't like it or they didn't live up to the sequel or anything like that. I don't know what happened, but I'm pretty sure probably chances are probably Mortal Kombat Rebirth was canceled because it probably didn't receive good reviews from people. I'm sure that would have been a bad movie. Like, I'm pretty sure Mortal Kombat Rebirth would have been a bad movie if it came on DVD. Mortal Kombat Legacy, even though Mortal Kombat Legacy wasn't really that good, but I mean, the episodes were okay. There was a few good episodes, and there were some that were okay. It's just, like I said, them later live-action Mortal Kombat projects are just not as good compared to the original 1995 ones. The original 1990s are still the better live-action Mortal Kombat sequels, so when they try to do later Mortal Kombat live-action sequels, like right here in 2010 and 2011, it just wasn't that good compared to the original 90s stuff. The original 90s stuff are just the better live-action Mortal Kombat sequels, in my honest opinion. But Mortal Kombat Legacy was alright. It was watchable. You know, I rewatched a couple of the episodes when I rented it on DVD at Family Video, and it was alright. And Matt Mullins, he didn't do too bad as Johnny. He actually did alright. You know, he did okay. I still, of course, I know I love Lyndon Ashby much better because he is Johnny Cage, but Matt Mullins did alright, so I'll go ahead and give him a thumbs up.
I actually got my ass kicked a lot, but martial arts changed all that.
Yeah, and he's got the good voice, and he does got a little bit of that attitude as well.
Johnny Cage. Have you guys seen those shows? Nothing happens. In my show, I'm actually going to be fighting. Well, no shit, the fighting's fake. It's a fucking movie.
I remember
What is
that.
the right move for me right now, Lance?
See, this guy does have a little bit of good Johnny Cage personality.
I need something big, Lance.
He's not as good compared to Lyndon Ashby, but he did alright. So, like I said, thumbs up for Matt Mullins.
Hey, it's no problem. I'll get you what you want.
Yes, but you know what? I thought this guy did much better in Mortal Kombat Legacy 2. Casper Van Dien, I think that's how you say his name. I actually thought this guy did a much better job. Casper Van. I actually think his performance as Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat Legacy 2 in 2013 was much better than Matt Mullins. I actually think he did a much better job as Johnny. It's pretty weird, though, that in this version you see Johnny Cage with a beard, and which is not something you normally see Johnny Cage in video games, because he usually always has himself, he doesn't have no facial hair on, but in this version he does, but it doesn't make it any difference that this guy actually did good. He actually was much funnier, he did more better with the role, and, he really did a much better Johnny Cage than Matt Mullins did, so I really like this guy a lot better. He just did a much better job with the funniness, the character-wise, he really did better, so definitely a thumbs up for him. Even though Lyndon Ashby would have to be is my only favorite live action Johnny Cage, but if I was to choose a second favorite, I probably would have to choose this guy, Casper Van, because even though he may not be as good as compared to Lyndon Ashby, but he does almost as good. At least he was better than Matt Mullins. So if they were to hire, if I was to pick a second favorite live action Johnny Cage, I probably would have to pick Casper Van, because I really thought he was pretty funny as well. So Lyndon Ashby and Casper Van would have to be my two favorite live-action Johnny Cages if I was to choose. Lyndon Ashby's my only one, but I'll pick this guy as well if I was to pick a second favorite. Like I said, this guy to me, was just the better Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat Legacy 2 compared to Matt Mullins' performance in Mortal Kombat Legacy 1. This guy just really did much better. He was more funny. I remember when me and Dad watched this together, we laughed at him and everything, because he really did a much better Johnny Cage, so definitely a thumbs up. Actually, you know what? Double thumbs up. Even though Mortal Kombat Legacy, as I said before, the Mortal Kombat Legacy and Mortal Kombat Legacy 2 movies weren't really that good compared to them, but they were still watchable. Honestly, for me, I liked Mortal Kombat Legacy 2 better than Mortal Kombat Legacy 1. Like I said, it may not be as good compared to the original 1995 movie, but they were at least watchable, and plus I actually have Mortal Kombat Legacy 2 on DVD, so this was enjoyable, and it was watchable in some ways, you know? So, it's at least good in some way, in some capacity, you know? So, but I definitely thought Mortal Kombat Legacy 2 was better, so, yeah. Nothing will ever surpass the 1995 movie, though, but this was at least good. And this guy, as I said, Casper Van, was much better as Johnny Cage than Matt Mullins was. So, as I said, double thumbs up.
Like I told the last figment of my imagination, I'm not interested. So you people can go fuck with someone else's head. Please. So, who are you supposed to be anyway? Somebody, oh God, please. That blind kid was kicking the crap out of that demonic motherfucker. And I saw them. Twins. They chased me down. One had these crazy teeth. More like fangs. She wasn't human.
That guy, I said, he was much funnier, as I said. I laughed a bit at his performance. Probably my most funniest moment I remember Casper's performance as Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat Legacy 2 was when, as you heard, he was talking about twins. He was describing Melina. He saw Melina and Katana, and he got scared by Melina after when he saw the fangs, and he was just running, screaming from her. That was probably the funniest thing from him. That was just funny. Me and Dad were laughing at that. He was just screaming while he was running from Melina. Hey, I don't blame him. I would have been running if I see a woman like that in real life, and if she looked like a monster and everything. Oh my God, I would have been running for dear life. Hell no, I ain't messing with that. That was the funniest part about his whole performance, in my opinion. I thought that was the funniest thing, you know, in the whole Mortal Kombat Legacy 2 movie was Johnny running from Melina.
I'm sure you're unaware.
But
judging from
yes.
gift cards.
Mortal Kombat X, fantastic game. That's a fantastic game. Andrew Bowen did a great job. He almost looked like if he could play Johnny Cage himself, too. He kind of looked like he'd be Johnny himself in real life if he could. But this was a good game as well. Mortal Kombat X was a great game. Even though I never played it, but watching the whole story, it looks very fun. Like, people really enjoyed this game. Mortal Kombat X is fantastic. That's an excellent game. So, of course, thumbs up. Double thumbs up.
Surprised if Sub-Zero's not willing to cooperate.
Andrew Bowens has a great voice.
Swear to God,
oh wow, and he came back in Mortal Kombat 11 as well. That's great. I should have thought of that, because, you know, his voice does, in Mortal Kombat 11, he did sound the same in Mortal Kombat X. I guess I should have thought it was the same man, Andrew Bowen. Sorry, I said the wrong name earlier, didn't I? But Andrew Bowen. Great. Probably out of all the voice actors who's voiced Johnny in video game-wise, this guy would probably have to be my favorite video game Johnny Cage voice actor. In my opinion, he has the best voice for a video game Johnny Cage, so this guy's probably my #1 personal favorite as a video game Johnny Cage. Yep, and past Johnny Cage, because if you watch the story, you know, there was a future and a past Johnny, well, no, present and past Johnny Cage. This is the past Johnny Cage right here. It was crazy that how our current Johnny Cage was more serious, like he was taking his job more serious, almost like Sonya would have, and he wasn't being as much of a clown like he used to, but, and then, you know, when he met past Johnny Cage, he had to take him serious, he was doing his job seriously, almost like if Sonya would have, so... He in the more later present day, you know, Johnny was being more serious than usual, but still, it doesn't matter. Great stuff. Well, pretty much almost all these guys did good. There was a few that, I think there was only one that I think I got a maybe on, but everybody else was good. But of course, out of all due respect, out of all of them, for animated and video game wise and stuff like that, obviously Andrew Bowen is my #1, is my favorite. Obviously, he's the only guy I think I'm pretty much going to pick for video game and animated-wise Johnny Cage. It's only Andrew Bowen. But even the guy in Mortal Kombat 9 was great. Well, like, Mortal Kombat 9 Johnny Cage voice actor, Jeff Pilson, I thought he was good as well. So I probably would pick Jeff Pilson as my second favorite if I was to. But both of them two guys, Andrew Bowen and Jeff Pilson. They're probably my two favorites for a video game and animated-wise, Johnny Cage, even though Andrew Bowen is really my only personal favorite, but if I have to have a second favorite, I'll pick Jeff Pilson. So those two are my favorite for animated and video game-wise, Johnny Cage. And then for live-action-wise, you already know who number one is for me. It's definitely Lyndon Ashby. And then for second favorite, even though Lyndon Ashby is my only personal favorite live-action Johnny Cage, but as I said, if I was to pick a second favorite, it would be Casper Van Dien, or Dine, or however you say his last name. Those two are my personal favorite live-action Johnny Cage. Lyndon Ashby and Casper Van Dien, or Dean, however you say his name. That's all. So, those are my 4 picks for Johnny Cage. So, now it's time for y'all to vote down in the comments down below. Tell me who you love as the voice of Johnny Cage, both live-action and animated video game-wise. And, yeah, I love to get y'all's honest opinions as well. And don't forget to share it with all your friends to even have their opinions on who they love as Johnny Cage as well. So, you already got my picks. Now it's time for y'all's. Y'all vote. So, that's pretty much it. This was a pretty good little throwback. So, like I said, I do love doing these voice comparison reaction videos every once in a while, because it takes you back in a history of everybody who's voiced them over the years, and especially even tells you what year they did as well, which is also great. So, it's really good to look back at this stuff to find out who's been voicing them over the years, you know what I'm saying? So, that's great, you know. And it's even great that even Generation West covers live-action people as well. I mean, Behelit89, he did a couple live-action people when I was doing some voice comparison reaction videos. He did do live-action-wise, but most of the time he usually does animated. That's why it's titled animated, because he's usually only covering the animated and video game-wise of the characters. They don't cover the live-action sequels, which is why I wanted to do Generation West's Mortal Kombat character voice comparison, because Behelit89 doesn't cover live-action-wise stuff, so I thought maybe it'd be better if I do Generation West. That way, not only will it give me the animated and video game-wise of the character, but also live-action sequels as well. Because there was a couple live-action stuff that were good as well, and as I said, there was 2 guys, as I told you, as my favorites I thought was a good live-action Johnny Cage, and then there's 2 I picked also as my personal favorite animated and video game, because you gotta at least cover almost everything, even live-action-wise, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So, y'all got my picks, everybody. Lyndon Ashby, Casper Van Dien, or Dine, however you say his name, for live-action Johnny Cage, and then for video game-wise, Andrew Bowen and Jeff Pilson for animated and video game Johnny Cage. 4 picks in total of Johnny Cage. So once again, be sure to leave a comment down below. I know I've already said that, but just really let me know. Like, get true with me, because I'm being very honest, and I've even had a few comments and replies to some of my other previous voice comparison reaction videos, and their honest opinions were pretty cool as well. Because you never know. Everybody has an honest opinion on something. So, of course, even somebody's got to have an honest opinion on who they love as Johnny Cage as well. So that's why I always say this in the end after when I'm done reacting, you know? So, who do y'all love as the voice of Johnny Cage? Be sure to also share this with share the videos with your friends so they can so I can get their honest opinions as well, or even that stuff. But until then, when I'm back with another video, I will definitely be doing some more Mortal Kombat franchise characters very soon for voice comparison reaction videos. But until then, I'm gonna end it off right here, yo. I don't know who I'll do for the next video, but just wait and find out when the next video comes up soon. So that'll be it for today, guys. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Dislike to give it the thumbs down. Join me next time in the next video. To all you boys, men, and guys out there, fist bumps go to all of you, and to all the girls, ladies, and women out there, kisses go out to all of you. But until then, this is Joe Flash signing off, and have a good day.